Welcome to the Startup Leaders Show, where we learn lessons from leading startup founders and executives. I'm your host for today, Lisa Dreher. I'm really excited to introduce our guest for today, Erwan Emilian. He is the chairman of the Mobile Satellite Users Association. Welcome to the show, Erwan.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me in the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for making time for this. Can you maybe start by just giving our audience a little bit of background about yourself?
Okay, even though I don't like that, but that's what we have to sometimes. I'm a Speedcast member. I'm the MSUA, so Mobile Satellite User Association chair. I am as well at the board of one or two other companies in the same industry, in the telecommunication satellite industry. And I'm an entrepreneur who lived 12 lives in one since its working days started at 22. I started by checking irrigation systems in Nebraska, for example, in Nebraska, USA.
Yeah.
I sold 5 million diskettes in DDR when the Berlin Wall was still there, and I crossed Checkpoint Charlie. I earned $10 million from a venture capitalist at 11 o'clock on the 9/11, and I lost them at 4 p.m. in 9/11 because of what happened.
Oh my gosh.
And we earned nearly 2 million daily users of an app, which was competing against WhatsApp. My problem is that I was not based in California, and WhatsApp won. So in my lifetime, I have helped, and that's my I think I'm mostly proud of this. I have helped provide salaries to more than 30,000 families. And I think that this is what entrepreneurs or leaders should aim at, is help creating value and welfare to employees.
Wow, that's amazing. I don't even know where to start.
And I have 4 kids, and
what an amazing background. And you're coming to us in the evening in Geneva, right?
I am actually based in Geneva. Absolutely, thank you. And it's 5:30 p.m. and the blue sky, and it's 0 Celsius outside.
Oh my gosh. So our temperature is very close to the same here in the Seattle area. So
It is. But people are not moving outside. There's no curfew, there's no lockdown, but it's, people are kind of staying at home.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, so why don't we start by talking a little bit about some of the trends that you see that you're kind of keeping an eye on in the satellite industry right now?
Well, that's a good question. Well, basically, I think that there are a few areas which will bring value in the future. in the close future, I think that the IoT, the IIoT, okay, the industrial Internet of Things, is the big trend. There is a kind of lack of great momentum on this market. We're all talking about IoT. We're all talking about having solutions and services to provide to our customers, but still, contracts, main and huge contracts are still not there, even though I've signed a major contract here in Geneva with the Red Cross to do tracking of their 3,000 vehicles. That was last year. So there are contracts like this out there in the oil and gas industry, in the government industry as well. So IoT is really a place to look at, a market to look at. And then you have another big market, which is very important for all of us, is the cellular backhaul, how to provide cellular coverage to the other 3 billions, which are now the other 7 billions. Because when the O3B was launched, we gained 1.5 billion of people on Earth. Having a good solution on cellular backhaul brings a lot of value to a company. So those are the two markets to check for the real future.
That's great. So what do you think, satellite leaders need to be doing and even enterprise business leaders that are using satellite services, what do they sort of need to be doing right now to stay ahead of these trends?
Technology, R&D, invest.
Yeah.
You always invest in the middle of the storm, never after. It's too late.
Yeah.
So innovation, absolutely. So I think that we will see coming a lot of LEO constellations, low Earth orbit constellations.
Mm-hmm.
They are the paradigm shift of our industry. Okay, it is the next 20 years of revenue growth. Even though we will still have the Ku band and C band, well, the geo satellite constellations, but LEO is really the big thing.
Yeah.
So all the satellite operators and the value chain needs to consider LEO as a major trend for the future.
Absolutely. Well, great. So we invited you here today because you have this amazing broad background, and we really wanted to learn some of the lessons that you could share that you've learned through your entrepreneurial career. I'd love to start with our first question, which is, what has been the biggest key to your success over the years?
Oh, Lisa, that's not nice. Thank you for the question. Resilience, calm, even though I like most of the entrepreneurs ran like Forrest Gump. I think sometimes you need the right idea at the right moment. What is important is to always benchmark with other markets. So considering the market you are in or the segment, it is absolutely important to compare yourself with other industries and look at processes which are applied to sell or produce a yogurt. Would that fit to sell and produce a satellite dish? Always think why. You never know. There are things which are very important to seize out there, which you don't necessarily see when you stick into your own industry. Push the paradigm shift to its paroxysmus in every field: sales, operations, R&D. I think you need the best partner. The best partner you can. I'm going to give you a joke. You can only be betrayed by friends, never by enemies. So work with your enemies. But that's a joke, okay? So, what else? I think that you need to treat your colleagues and employees or collaborators. That's a French word which is difficult to spell to say in English. The best way possible. You need to be prepared to lose, spend, share money for and with your employees, following the 1/3 ratio of the profitability distribution. 1/3 to the employees, 1/3 to the company for its evolution. So you reinvest 1/3 of your profit in the company, and 1/3 to the owners. So if you follow this 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, at the end you will be spending 2/3 of your profits into the welfare of your employees, which means to your profitability.
Yeah.
Means to sustainability. Okay. So never change. Well, I said that, but I've applied that myself, and it has always worked. Okay, so that's what I suggest. So those are the few points I tried. Some with success, others not. I tried to implement in my career.
That's really good advice. I really like that. So when you look at the businesses over the years that you've been involved in and all of the sort of market ups and downs, dramatic market ups and downs that you've experienced, what would you say is the most valuable business lesson that you've learned?
Again, it's choose your partner. So here we are in the startup. The theme of your of this show is entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs equals small, mid-size enterprise, which can become huge corporations. But when you are an entrepreneur, either you start alone or you start with a partner. I think for me, I like being with partners, and being with partners is always a challenge. But when you create your company with a partner, it's better if you do it 50-50. Okay. Act by example. So you always have to show to the people you're working with how to behave, what to do. So always be in front, not in the back, to show by example. I think that, well, that's me. Okay. I think that you have to build a corporation for one generation and not more. That's a focus.
Wow.
If you try to build something for many generations, you lose the momentum. It was probably perfect in the beginning of the century, of the 20th century. Okay, time, you can take time, and you were building corporations for many generations. But today, when you start on Monday, you can become billionaire on Tuesday, and things are going so fast that you cannot even think about a second generation being profiting from the corporation you have created. So build for one generation, and then you'll see the next generation will spoil it or will continue, but that's their problem.
Right.
Okay? Your job is your generation.
Wow. Interesting.
And the last point is know your customer, or know your customers, plural. Know your competition, know your weaknesses, and that equals to zero churn. Churn, okay, so it's avoiding customers to leave.
Right.
To leave your company.
Yes.
4 points, I think that are the most valuable business lessons I've learned.
That's fantastic. So you've mentioned partners a couple of times in our conversation. What would you say are some of the best ways to go about finding those partners that you should be working with?
Life. For example, I have been invited 2 years ago to participate in the MSUA program, Mobile Satellite User Association. Okay, and I, being part of this association, I found possible partners for future enterprises, which I would like or not launch. But I think that the more you participate into ventures, into organizations, into associations, the more you meet people, and the more your brain goes like, oh, da 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 da. It goes fast sometimes.
Yeah.
And the swirl enables you to definitely pick the right partner for the right project. Should that be in a small corporation, in a small enterprise, or in a super large corporation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
It's interesting how sometimes the dots connect in ways that you may not have anticipated when you first got involved in an organization or met someone.
Some have found their partners from the beginning. Steve Jobs, Wozniak.
Yeah.
First day, first hour, and then became what they became. And others, it's along the way, but it will come. It comes. It always comes.
Absolutely.
Believe in life. Believe in the rolling stone. At some point, that stone will hit you. So.
Absolutely. So knowing what you know now, if you could have given yourself a piece of advice in the beginning when you first started out your career, what would you have told yourself?
Take time to fly above 30,000 feet.
Oh.
Elevate yourself. Saying that, I'm saying stop the clock. Okay, look at a high altitude what you are doing, not just micro but macro. Stop spending 20 hours of your day doing small things. At some point of the week or the month, stop everything and elevate yourself, elevate your brain, and look just as if you were someone at 3,000 feet looking at yourself, and analyze what you are doing, so you can correct yourself. In terms of money success, always. So as I said, I prefer having 5% of a corporation and being with the right partners than 100% of a corporation and being alone. That's me. Okay. So if I would have given myself an advice, is this one again: choose your best partners and don't hesitate to give shares. Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of freedom, I think that if you start an enterprise with a second partner, pick the 50-50. If you pick the 51-49, okay, in terms of shares, you start on the wrong side of the success. It's going to be a failure. It's going to be a failure. Okay, so 50-50, it means that all the main decisions have to be taken by both of you, and you need to reach an agreement. And that's the most difficult, because all the path to reach an agreement is sometimes pretty long. It can be a few minutes or a few hours of negotiation, but at least both parties agree.
Yeah.
At 100% of their capacity. So those are the three advisors that I would have given myself. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which I learned too late sometimes.
Well, right. Sometimes we need to remind ourselves of those lessons that we've learned in the past. One of the things that I've seen a lot with startups and companies as they grow is that at some point they hit a plateau. And when they hit that plateau, they sometimes get stuck. And are there things, have you experienced this in your career? And if so, what have you done to kind of help push past those plateaus?
Very interesting question. Very, very good question, Lisa. You have plateaus. For example, if you take a product, the product has a plateau. It has the launch. It has the launch curve, and then the maturity, and then the decline. Okay. For companies, it can be the same. If you don't have this capacity to elevate yourself at 30,000 feet and look the competition, look at the market, look at yourself, and try to understand if there is any fit there. Okay, so if there is fit, you're in good shape. Now, when you see that your company hits a plateau, there aren't many options. The first option is focus. Okay, it's you have to get rid of the services, the products, the elements that are not in your core business, that came along the years and are polluting your prime kernel.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to invest. Invest, as I said, invest while there is the hurricane, and not after. It's too late.
Yeah.
So evidently, when there is a pandemic, when there is a depression, you tend to close everything down, put your helmet, jacket, parachute in the back, parachute in the front, and wait.
Yeah.
That's one way of doing things. The other way is do a little bit of that, but as well spend the money you have right now while there are the problems, because there is always light at the end of the corridor. Always. The sun has arose for the last 10 billion years from the east, and tomorrow is going to be the same. Okay, so don't worry, sun will come back. And I think that the other thing to do is to launch new products and services, is to spend your money into innovation.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't innovate in your private life, in your business life, if there is no innovation, there is death.
Yeah.
If I don't innovate every day when I come back, or it's not come back because we're all working from home, but if I open the door of my office and I see my wife, if I come and see her the same every day, man, it's not gonna last 10 years, 15 years. Okay, so you have to innovate. Companies are the same. You have to change. You have a natural evolution, and you have to drag all the people with you. So I think that this is that allows you to rebound on that plateau.
Sure.
And you have all the other tools, which is too long to talk here.
Well, we can always have another conversation. So I want to end today's conversation, though, with one more question, which is, if you were to make one big prediction about the future of the satellite industry or technology, what would that prediction be?
Look, I'm a fanatic of Musk, Elon Musk. I own a Tesla. It's my second one. I started 7 years ago, so I can call myself kind of an early adopter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a car; it's an iPhone on 4 wheels. It's everything is different. My life is different. I'm a Tesla driver. I'm not a car driver.
Wow.
I'm safe. This car has saved my life 3 times on highways. I was sleeping. I was on my autopilot. I fell asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, and my car was following a truck. And you know this moment which lasts 1 second, where your head falls like this, and then the car goes on the side. Yeah. That never happened with this car. So that car saved my life. The reason I'm saying this is Musk is launching Starlink,
mm-hmm.
the Leo constellation. this constellation and all the other Leo constellations to be launched will be disruptors. They will disrupt our mammoth generation industry. We need people like this. We need those entrepreneurs and those new ideas. All right.
Yeah.
Now, in this terminal period, you need to be like a little bit like a Keynesian, and I advocate for increased corporation investments in new technologies and optimized services. Lower your margins, lower your prices to stimulate growth. The only thing we need to do today is stimulate growth. And to do that, it's spend, innovate, decrease your price. Decrease your price means less margin or buy better, okay? But growth. And then when growth is back, you will be able to rethink about your mix, how you address your different markets, and then increase your margins by launching high quality products. Robert Lucas Jr. won a Nobel Prize in 95, I think, for having developed and applied the hypothesis of rational expectations. Rational expectations.
I don't want to have rational expectations.
What shall we expect in 2021 of rational? Think about that. I don't know. In 2020, we were saying 2021 rebound of the economy, rebound of now it's 2022 and probably 2023. Okay, so listen, the future lies in understanding, adapting, and accepting the theory of cycles. Mm-hmm. So today we are in the cycle like this. Tomorrow is going to be going upward. Okay. But with one little change, the cards have just been redistributed. And you were or not listening to Lisa Dreher's podcast, but they've been redistributed. And we are saying, if you were not listening to your podcast, then you are going to miss it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Erwan, I really want to thank you for being here today and sharing such valuable insights with us. We really appreciate it. And we would love to have a conversation again in the future. We can talk about more about some of your predictions.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. We shall. Absolutely. Looking forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.